Aha. Okay, so Adam, welcome. It's just great to have you here. You're someone that's professionally involved in live entertainment in a big way. And we'd like to show you just some of the examples. You run AEG. Just give us a brief description, which you can't really, but you'll try,
Sure.
of what AEG is and does.
Well, first of all, Ralph, thank you for having me here today, and thank you to Mama and CJ. It's really an honor to be here and to share the stage with Timbaland. It's actually kind of intimidating to go on after Timbaland. I hope that we could keep that level of enthusiasm going. So I run AEG Live's business here in Asia, and there's a giant AEG logo. We are a LA-based entertainment company that works across live entertainment. We are in the real estate business, we're in the live entertainment business, we're in the brand partnership business, and we are in the ticketing business. And over the last 10 years or so, we've started to build our presence here in Asia.
And in terms of operating in Asia, you operate facilities, arenas, buildings, and so forth. Let's just go to the next slide, please.
Yeah, so this here is it's the MasterCard Center. Now it's actually called the Le Sports Center. This building was constructed in 2008 for the Beijing Olympics. And AEG got involved with the building, with the design, with the construction, and we opened the building first for the Olympics, and it was specifically used for Olympic basketball. And then after the Olympics, we relaunched the building as the MasterCard Center, and it became China's first modern, multifunctional arena. And we do everything from pop concerts to hockey to basketball games there, close to 100 events a year, which was really a first for the market in China, in some ways for a lot of Asia.
Well, one of the problems in Asia is that historically, buildings that might have been built 30 to 40 years ago might not be fitted out as smart buildings that are needed in today's world. Let's just go to the next slide. Here's one that does fit a modern style, which AEG built. Tell us about this, this important building in Shanghai.
Yeah, I would consider this our marquee project in Asia. This is the this is the Mercedes-Benz Arena in Shanghai. This was also built for the World Expo in 2010, and we launched it as the Mercedes-Benz Arena in 2011. AEG designed the building, and we're co-owners in the building together with the NBA and the Oriental Pearl Group, a large media conglomerate in China. And this is a great example of a market that had so much promise and so much potential, but at the same time, because of the lack of infrastructure, the overall entertainment market, live entertainment market, really had an artificially low ceiling. And I think that could be applicable to many markets around the world. Certainly Shanghai is a great case study, but you could even say the same thing about Seoul, Singapore, other places in Asia where there's a great live entertainment scene, but without a modern infrastructure to support it, it could only get to a certain level. So an example would be, prior to this building opening, we would do a lot of shows in an older sports center that was built in the 1970s. And the venue maybe fit about 6,000 to 7,000 people, and we would try to take an A-level show and squeeze it into an old building. And we would have challenges with the technical ability of the building. We would have a challenge with the capacity, because these shows were designed for much larger spaces, so it would ultimately increase the ticket prices. We had all of these challenges going against us, and you look at a market like China or Korea or Southeast Asia, and all of these different international products are coming in, all of these different entertainment options, and consumers have a lot of options of where to spend their disposable income and their disposable time. So you say, okay, I'm going to take my $100 and I'm going to go and have a nice dinner with friends, or I'm going to go to karaoke or to a shopping mall or to the movies. There's all of these things you could do. When you'd go see an artist, maybe it's your favorite artist, but you'd be going to an old venue and there wasn't good parking there, and there wasn't good food options, and the bathroom smelled bad, and the acoustics were terrible, and you go down the list, and the reality is that it limits the ability for people to really enjoy live entertainment. So when you come in the market with a modern, sophisticated venue like this, it's just a game changer. So, you know, just to give you an example, in Shanghai, the building that we were previously using would do about 30 events a year. So we figured if we build this, if we do 30 events a year, basically that's 100% of the market. When we opened our building, we ended up doing 85 events, and they still did 30. So it's just an example of, if you build it, they will come. If you build the right structure, the entire market can be revitalized, and that's applicable to Shanghai, to Beijing, but also so many places around Asia, and that really encompasses what the AEG strategy is here.
Which other cities are you finding are now starting to take up this theme and actually put money and concrete into new thinking and new developments?
Well, this is another project that we've been involved with in Dalian, which is in northeast China, and that's a massive sports park that has a stadium, an arena, among other things. But overall, we're exploring opportunities in Japan, in Korea, in Singapore, in Macau. I think that the Asian market overall is well primed for the overall infrastructure to be improved. So with AEG, we really have three core parts of our business. So it's the real estate, it's the content, the live entertainment side, and then it's the partnership business with different brands. So when they all work together, you get something like we do in Shanghai. But it takes a long time to build a building. It takes a long time to develop a real estate infrastructure. So our touring business has spread all around the Asia-Pacific region even much faster. So out of our Shanghai hub, where we started doing shows to put them in our buildings, we now do tours with top clients that we work with, like Taylor Swift and Katy Perry, and go down the list, and we take them between Tokyo through Korea, China, Southeast Asia, and down to Australia.
Philippines, another big market.
Philippines and Indonesia, and all of the markets around the Asia region.
And you run all of this out of Shanghai. You're responsible for making sure that all of this works. And
I try.
Well, you do. You do. Ladies and gentlemen, I must tell you, Adam is very modest, but he is someone that is a master of understanding how to put many different forms of a puzzle coming together to give you an incredible live experience. Let's go to the next slide. Here's something from KL, where you presented this great songwriter, the one-man band, one-man show, Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, we took Ed all around Asia, and it was just kind of at the tipping point where he was going from kind of a mid-level to a superstar act. So when we first put it on sale to when he actually arrived in Asia, his popularity just exploded. So, all of the shows sold out, and we had, thousands of people waiting at the airport, waiting around the venues. It was incredible, and we're looking forward to bringing Ed back to Asia, hopefully sometime next year.
So when you look at the success of someone like an Ed Sheeran, here's someone who doesn't come with a band. It's one man on the stage with his pedals.
Ed is spectacular, and until you see it, it's hard to even understand it, because he could fill a stadium. This is a guy that sold out multiple nights of Wembley Stadium, and it's just him and a guitar.
That's 90,000 people.
Yeah, but he's phenomenal. He is a genius.
So your experience in both Malaysia, in KL, and in Indonesia was that he could draw quite a big audience?
He has a massive following here.
Massive
following. Just he's resonated so strongly in Asia.
Amazing. Let's go to the next one. How many of you have ever heard of Taylor Swift? Well, we're just joking, of course.
Yeah.
Probably the most famous woman. She only earned $180 million last year. Not bad for a young girl who's not even 29 yet.
That was the year that she wasn't working.
That was her
off year on tour. Right? Yeah, we've had the incredible pleasure to work with Taylor on three tours around Asia. We did the Red Tour with her, which went throughout Southeast Asia.
So which cities would you have done on that first Red Tour with her?
First tour we did Shanghai, and we did Manila, KL, Jakarta, Singapore. We unfortunately did not play Bangkok because they had this thing going on with the red shirts, and we thought maybe the Red Tour would be inappropriate.
Maybe it would have been a good thing to bring to Bangkok for the red shirts.
But and then the second tour, which was her 1989 tour, we actually did show number 1 of the entire tour, started in Tokyo, and we did 2 nights in the Tokyo Dome. So they shipped over the entire set. The first show of the entire tour, they hadn't ever played it live anywhere, and they showed it up, they built it, put it in Tokyo Dome, and it was incredible. And then she came back later in the year, and we did multiple nights in Shanghai, multiple nights in Singapore.
Now, she'd already had a following. Tell us when you did Tokyo with Taylor Swift.
So we did Tokyo Dome.
Just tell us about the set that she used, because this was revolutionary in what you had to do in the very large venue you used there. Explain it.
I mean, maybe many of you have actually seen the last tour, but she built this incredible stage production. And a lot of artists, international artists, when they come into Asia, they have to scale down the show because each market is a different country, and it involves a lot of air freight to move things around. So it's actually a lot more expensive to tour throughout Asia than it would be if you were touring, say, in the US or Europe. So the result of that is a lot of the international artists scale it down, except for Taylor. With Taylor, there's no B show. There's just the Taylor Swift show. So they had this incredible stage and this thrust, and it actually would fly up in the air like a helicopter, and it would spin around. It was phenomenal. I mean,
how long would it take to set something like that up in a large building?
I mean, normally it would take probably 3 or 4 days. Because it was the first show, you'd probably need a week. But because it's Japan and the Tokyo Dome has the baseball schedule, they gave us 36 hours. And
36 hours?
Yeah, and I don't know how they did it, but they just...
But you did it?
Well, a lot of people did it, but it came together and it was phenomenal.
But this was your show.
It was my show,
You ultimately were carrying... It was your responsibility to make sure that come hell or high water, that would go on.
I would be the guy that would get fired if it didn't happen.
But you didn't.
I didn't get fired.
So you did it.
It worked out
Give him
great.
a round of applause for that. 36 hours to fly a big show like that. Very important. Let's go to the next slide here. Oh, there we are. Oh, Adam, there you are with Taylor Swift.
Yeah, and that's Taylor, and that's our team in Shanghai that we tour with.
Huh. So who's that? Take it from left to right. If you're on the right.
Right, so that's me, and that's Cece, who does all of our marketing. That's Taylor Swift, you may recognize her. And that's Connie, who does all of our tour accounting, and Brian. And Dan does production, and Mike Dugan works for our company in the U.S., and he's pretty phenomenal. He's been at every single Taylor Swift concert that she's ever done for the last 10 years. He's been there from day one.
Every single concert for the last 10 years?
Every single show since the day she started performing. He's been at every show.
Wow.
Yeah.
And she's extremely professional, isn't she?
She's incredible. I mean, she really is. She's just, you know, every show she does perfect.
Is she very detail conscious?
Very hands-on, very detailed, very on top of all of the creative and the business matters. She's truly one of the most pleasurable people I've had the opportunity to work with.
So she doesn't throw tantrums, she throws audiences incredible shows.
Yes, that would be a good way to describe it.
Wow, incredible. And so how many shows have you done with her now in Asia?
I think we've probably done about 15 or 20, but not enough. No, we want Taylor to come back, and we're looking forward to whenever that is.
Wow. Let's go to the next slide. Oh, there's another one.
The advertisement from the second tour we did, the 1989 tour.
And that was called 1989 because that was the year in which she was born, right?
Yes, exactly.
So she called it 1989. That's right, it's 1989, so she's 27, so she's certainly under 29. And just an incredible artist. There we are. That's was that the Tokyo date you were talking about?
Yeah, this was the announcement for the Tokyo Dome show, which once again it was a great show, but it was also significant because it was literally the first show of the entire world tour, and it was something that they really felt was important to start the tour in Asia. They thought that would say something to their fan base here, because usually tours for a Western artist, they start, you know, in New York or something like that, and they come here last. And this was her personal idea. She thought it would be important to come out here for the first part of the tour. And I think that resonated very strongly with her fan base here.
Amazing. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Shanghai. How many of you here in the audience like Metallica? Just one woman in the front. No, I don't believe it. There must be more people who like Metallica. One of the great superstar rock bands. Well, here we are. This is when? Recently.
This was, let me think. I think it was 2013. This was a really significant show for us in China. The Chinese market has been evolving and developing for a number of years, and I've had the opportunity to work there for, based in Shanghai for 15 years, and I could say that I was there, in the early days, and I was doing club shows and small shows, but that was kind of all that was going on, and the market expanded, and we started doing more and more shows, but for a long time, it was very hard to have what you would call a true sellout. Shows would come, and they would do okay. And there was a tipping point, and everybody says, when was the tipping point? Could you pinpoint it? And this is I would pinpoint it with Metallica. We went on sale with them, and a lot of the ways we try to determine the popularity of an artist, because you don't have the history in the market. You can't look at past album sales or radio play. All of this is new. All of these bands are going there. It's the first time. So how do you know what their popularity is? So we would go to all of the different social media metrics and try to determine how many people stream their music, watch their videos, and we came up with this whole analytics chart that we claimed to be, scientific, and we would plug in a Taylor Swift or a Justin Bieber, and you'd see where they rank. And when the opportunity for Metallica came along, I'm a Metallica fan, so I got really excited, and I plugged it into my chart, and they didn't rank at all.
Wow.
Just nothing. They didn't even check.
And they are not cheap to book. If they play somewhere, you've got to pay them big bucks.
They were not cheap to book. So I remember having this conversation with my boss in LA saying, we have to do this. And he said, well, I had been selling him on this chart I had created. So where do they rank on the chart? And I said, they're not on the chart. Oh. So he said, well, we shouldn't do it. And I said, look, I'll forego my entire salary for the year.
Wow.
Just give me the profit of the show. Yeah. And he said, I will not do that, but we'll do the show. Anyway, so we went on sale, and we sold out in 6 minutes.
6 minutes? How many seats?
It was probably about 15,000 seats.
In 6 minutes?
We sold out so fast that we spent almost the rest of the day just convinced the ticket system probably broke. We were trying to determine, did they really transact all these tickets? But that was the tipping point. That was the definitive tipping point in the mainland China market for international artists, when all of a sudden it became a market where artists could go there and they could have that kind of success, international artists. And from Metallica, other artists like Taylor Swift followed, and she sold out in, of course, 5 minutes, had to beat Metallica.
4 to 5 minutes.
But Metallica, we just announced a new tour of Asia. We're playing in Korea, we're playing in China, we're playing in Singapore, Hong Kong as well, sold out here in Hong Kong. And we went on sale in Beijing the other day, and we sold out in 2 minutes. So
2 minutes?
Now it's defying the logic of technology.
And you make it sound so easy, because in essence, you have to negotiate a deal with the band, organize the logistics to get them there, pay them millions of dollars just to come. You've got to advertise it. You've got to make sure that your venues are all in place. You've got to make sure that everything is all in place. I mean, this is a big deal.
That for 2 minutes of satisfaction. You think they could have given me like 5 minutes, but
exactly.
I'll take it. It's a lot to get to that point. Those are rare situations. All of us here who work in music, we have many of them don't go like that. But these guys are people that like Metallica are beyond passionate. Metallica fans. It's a lifestyle. It's not just a fan base.
Let's go to the next slide here. There's Katy Perry, you spoke about a little earlier. Just briefly on Katy. There's Katy with a massive tour, over $20 million gross, correct?
I think it was probably far more than $20 million, maybe $20 million in Asia, but we did all of her US tour and her Asia tour, and hopefully going to work with her in an even bigger capacity next time. But in Asia, we did, I believe, about, I think it was 12 shows around the region. 12 shows? Yeah.
And she was a big name, that Roar, her big single,
on the back
was a roaring success?
Big success. We did a show in the Philippines, and they had just built this incredible venue. It's called the Philippine Arena, but it's a stadium. It's an indoor stadium, basically. It's owned by the Catholic Church in the Philippines, and we did this incredible show. 50,000 people indoors.
50,000 indoors.
And for those of you who've had the opportunity to tour around Asia, there's a lot of great markets, and they're all different, but there's nothing more incredible than an audience in Manila. They are by far the most incredible audience you'll ever see.
Just so responsive to the artist.
They are the loudest audience.
The loudest?
And they all sing really well.
Really?
There's some good singing, yeah. It's a very fun place to play.
Wow. Let's go to the next slide. Ah, so now here's an interesting one, because you're a believer. Are you a believer?
I am, yeah, well.
You're a believer. Are anyone here a believer? Not one believer, not believer, a believer, like Justin Bieber. Not one. Who's a believer? There's just one lady there putting her hand up halfway. I don't believe it. I'm not a believer in your belief.
There we go.
Oh, there we are. Oh, there's one. Okay. Oh, there's that guy at the back there. Oh, yes, he's shaking his hands. He's definitely a believer because he's one of the promoters who promotes Justin Bieber. And if he doesn't shake his hands, we're in trouble. But here's AEG Live promoted all of Justin Bieber's shows in Asia.
We actually do all of Justin's tours all over the world for a number of years now. I think we've done 3 tours already with Justin, and we're in the midst of a massive tour with him. We've already done all of the US, Europe, literally just finished a couple of days ago in London. And we have a big stadium tour that's sold out in Australia in March. That's something that runs out of my office here. We're doing shows soon. I think some of them are announced, some of them are not, so I can't say the exact cities, but across the Middle East, Africa, and India. And we're going to hopefully be doing quite a bit in Asia at some point.
And the interesting thing is that the manager of Justin Bieber is a gentleman by the name of Scooter Braun. And Scooter Braun is very famous in Korea. Why? Does anyone know the reason why? That's it. This producer in the front row here, he knows Scooter Braun, who manages Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande and Kanye West, also manages Psy, and was the person that had the belief in Psy to release Gangnam Style in America and saw it reach #1 in the Billboard charts. We've got a great, great writer here in the audience today from Billboard, and he knows all about that. But here's a picture of you with Justin. I can't see which one. Is Justin the one in the red shirt on the
That's me when I was younger.
Oh.
That's back when I was younger.
Oh, I thought that was you. I thought that was Justin and you the guy in the middle. No, Justin's the one in the middle, right? Just a joke there, ladies and gentlemen. But
this was us in Bangkok, and that's Neil Thompson there as well. If you guys
so
know Neil
who are the people in that picture?
There's Neil Thompson, who's our partner there with BEC Tero, who does a lot of Korean shows there as well. And there's Justin Bieber, and I apologize, I can't remember the other gentleman's name. One of the local promoters there.
Uh-huh. And how did he do in Bangkok?
Oh, he did. I mean, it's Justin Bieber. He does great. It does great everywhere.
He does great everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you think that's because he's got a teeny bopper following, or do you think that it's just his music? What is it?
It's not necessarily the case. First of all, now the audience is definitely older than they were during this tour.
Right.
But even when during this tour, it was interesting because the audience demographics in Asia were different than other parts of the world. Huh. So at that point, his fan base in the US and Europe was a bit younger. But when he came out to Asia, we found the fan base was mostly, I mean, you had young people, but you had a lot of people in their 20s, a lot of people that were into the club-going crowd. So it was kind of prelude to the age that he now has with his fans elsewhere. But in Asia, they kind of always were a little bit older.
Huh. Wow. So interesting to hear about the mechanics behind all of this. So one thing we know, AEG are committed to the entertainment future of not only Korea, but all of Asia Pacific. Artists, arenas, convention centers, stadiums, developing entertainment districts, clubs and theaters. Adam, you've been doing an incredible job the last 15 years, and we're so proud and privileged to bring you here to the Creators Forum because you are a creator par excellence.
Well, thank you. I'm really honored to be here. It's a pleasure to join everybody here today. And Ralph, thank you again. I always love getting a chance to do this together.
Ladies and gentlemen, please let's go to the final slide and give a warm round of applause, please, to Adam. Adam, thank you, thank you, thank you. There you go, Adam Wilkes.